But the Bucks are currently just outside the play-in and have won 4 of their last 5 games, with Giannis averaging over 30 points per game. So, Perk, will Milwaukee still have Giannis after the trade deadline this season?
George, I think I was wrong. I said at the beginning of the season that Giannis would be in another uniform, but I think the Bucks are just holding on for dear life, and I understand it. We're talking about a generational talent, but what I will say is I expect the Bucks to be aggressive at the trade deadline to move and try to make a splash, right? When you think about Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's one of one. The fact that he's playing with the passion that he always played with, I believe that Giannis just feel like he has a chance against anybody, but I believe the Bucks will do and make some moves at the trade deadline to try to move and get some pieces around Giannis so that they could have a shot to be a playoff type team in the Eastern Conference.
All right, Big Perk, let's go to Trae Young next. Over his 8 seasons in Atlanta, he's averaged 25 points, almost 10 assists per game. But he wasn't offered a contract extension prior to this season. The Hawks All-Stars missed 27 games this season. Atlanta has been 15-12 without Young in the lineup. Let's start with you, Hall of Famer Mark Spears. How is Trae Young handling the upcoming trade season?
Ooh, I hear he's trying to be really careful about this. You know, this is a guy who saw Kevin Durant leave Oklahoma City as a kid and saw how that was, and he wants to continue, whether he's there or gone, to have a connection with Atlanta. So I don't think he's asking for a trade, but I don't think he's telling them not to trade him. I'm hearing he's open-minded to being moved. You know, he and Porzingis still haven't really played much together, and we don't really know what that looks like. But without an extension, with Trae seem to being blamed for a lot of the things, fair or unfair, I do think he certainly would be open-minded to a new uniform.
All right, next up, Anthony Davis. Davis has only played in 18 games this season, but when he's been on the court, he's averaging 20 and 10 per game. Davis has another year on his current contract, plus a player option, and his desire for a, quote, pricey extension might have him out in Dallas. So, Tim, who better to go to here, amigo? What's the deal with Davis?
Howdy, Georgie. AD's preference would be to stay in Dallas and to get that extension this summer. Now, does that make sense for a team trying to build around a teenage prodigy? I think you can answer that question on your own. As far as the outlook, look, the Mavericks are trying to generate a good trade market for Anthony Davis. That is difficult because of the durability issues, and I think more so the dollars. And in a situation like this, Rich Paul is going to be involved. They are going to want AD traded somewhere that is willing to give him a long, lucrative extension. And I just think mid-season it's going to be very difficult for Dallas to make all those pieces fit.
All right, finally, Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors. Kuminga has not played since December 18th. He was supposed to be in the lineup when the Warriors rested their stars against the Thunder last Friday, but was a late scratch with back soreness. Kuminga signed an extension this offseason, but will be eligible to be traded on February 15th. So, Ramona, what are you hearing about Kuminga?
Look, this needs to end. That game where he was supposed to play, and then there was a late scratch with the back soreness. Now, Mark Spears has been telling us all morning that he saw Jonathan Kuminga and he was sick that day. I don't know why they didn't just say he was also sick, because I think Jimmy Butler was out with a sickness that day, but that was a golden opportunity for him to play. If you've been sitting on the bench, you're out of the rotation, he had a chunk of minutes in front of him, and my jaw dropped when I saw Anthony Slater tweet that he was not going to play and that he'd been a late scratch there. This feels like it could get ugly if they don't resolve it pretty quickly. And he's eligible to be traded January 15th. There's one team that keeps coming up, and that's the Sacramento Kings. I don't know what they're going to get in return for him at this point, but they got to move on.
You know, Scott Perry was, I think, very brilliant to have spent an hour and a half with Kuminga in Miami. So while all these other teams are very looking at Kuminga in a mysterious way, he got time with him. The Kings still love him. That first-round pick is off the table, but they're communicating, as Ramona said, with the Warriors. And but who is it that they'll get? You know, Keegan Murray, Reynald, some of the younger guys, they're off the table. But the Kings definitely want a youth movement and would love to have Kuminga in it. And I think Kuminga, the one thing is you got to remember how many people were excited to go to Sacramento. He'd pack his bags up and drive up I-80 going north right now if they let him.
I mean, I know he and Jimmy Butler are friends. You know, Jimmy Butler went on the record and said he had his back and he supports him. We'll still be friends no matter what happens. But like when Jimmy Butler sat out last year and he had the Michigas with Miami, it was one thing. Jimmy Butler took them to the finals. Jimmy Butler is established in this league. I don't know if I've seen a player in this category who hasn't really proven himself at that level yet to take a tack like this.
All right, we'll see what transpires next. But let's get to the court. Last night, SGA and the Thunder were in Phoenix to take on Devin Booker and the Suns. Books had himself a night last night. You'll see here. We'll start off late in the third. The Thunder leading by 4. SGA gets the off-balance shot to fall there. Then under 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Thunder now trailing by 1. SGA gets crafty on this one. Next possession, Phoenix. Goody drills a 3.
Saw a lot of that last night. Jordan Goodwin, scrap heap pickup, making an impact.
Career high 8 threes for him. Under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. OKC up 2. Dylan Brooks. He gets in the act with a sidestep 2. Long 2 there. Game tied at 100. 30 seconds to go in the fourth. Thunder down 4. SGA. His shot is short, but Chet, there to clean it up.
I like Che better.
A French pronunciation of Chet.
Could be. Phoenix possession here. Brooks will step out of bounds. OKC ball, 23 seconds to go, down 2. 12 seconds. J-Dub on the drive.
Back home.
Gets the jumper.
Maybe his best game of the year, by the way.
Tied at 105, but final Suns possession. Booker.
He does that.
Book it.
Yeah.
Incredible clutch triple from Booker.
Caruso on him like a blanket.
Dort was there too.
Yep.
Incredible shot there, as I mentioned. And Nike basketball showing Booker some love. Another job booked, another job complete. Here was Booker when he was asked about how he was guarded after the game.
That's Alex Caruso guarding. I mean, that's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. What's your confidence level that you can get up a good look against that level of defender in that situation?
Yeah, pretty confident.
I hope he misses. Yeah, get a stop. Every time, like it's like a shot like that, it feels like the ball's in slow motion until it hits the rim and it misses or goes in. But those are the funnest moments of the game for sure.
Suns have won 6 of 7 games since the 23rd of December, the best record in the NBA over that span. Phoenix also ranks 3rd in net efficiency over that span as well, outscoring opponents by 9.3 points per 100 possessions. The Thunder are now 6-5 in their last 11 games. Perk, how surprising is the Thunder's recent play?
What you mean, George? And look, here's the thing. When you're the champs, you're going to get everybody's best shot, especially when you go on the road, especially when you're going against a team like the Phoenix Suns or the San Antonio Spurs. Guys are going to come out, and every night on the road is going to be like a playoff game because you are the standard. I'm not going to overreact because they're 6-5 over their last 11 games. I'm not going to overreact because last night Goodwin had 26 points off the bench. You know, when you play against the champs, certain guys have out-of-body experiences. It was a time when I played with the Celtics during those final runs, championship runs, where we had a guy by the name of Matt Barner came in on a Sunday afternoon, I believe it was, and I think he lit us up for about 25 to 26 points. That wasn't on our bingo card, and the Spurs walked out of there on the win. It caused Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to get into it at halftime. So it happens. I'm not going to overreact to this. The Thunder knows what's at stake, what's ahead of them. They're going to get everybody's best shot, and we saw an example of that last night.
All right, fair enough. Spears, you have anything to add here?
Yeah, I actually talked to Shea on Friday after the Warriors game, and this is before this loss, obviously, and he said he's not overreacting. He was expecting the coaches, the players, the front offices, everybody around the league to get better against them. And he said, hey, we didn't expect to go 81-1. He said he certainly has been through some tougher times, but he said it's very loud when they lose. But, you know, he's not concerned, he's not worried, and he feels like they'll be just fine.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you and Perk. Like, I think that this is the deal when you're the champs, right? Like, you are going to get everybody's best punch every day.
And he said they got to get better, too. He admitted that as well.
I also think that they still are young, and they are adjusting to things on the fly, too. Like, yes, they won the championship, but they're still a very young squad.
Well, and hey, let's give a little bit of credit to the team that landed the punch last night.
Right,
okay?
they're good.
This didn't come from out of nowhere. The Suns they were one of the biggest jokes in the league the last couple of years. Let's just call it like it is. These Suns were an epic disaster the last 2 years. They were an embarrassment. This is a team that has completely reset the culture. They finally hired a coach who's going to be there for a while, and they got a good one in Jordan Ott. Brought Dylan Brooks in, complete culture reset. 7 games above 500. Nobody saw this coming, but it's not a fluke. You know, the Suns deserve some credit here for not just what they did last night, but what they've done this season.
I agree. And look, I think we cross off. They're not going to get 73 wins, and I don't know. San Antonio's 4.5 back.
Oh, stop!
I don't know about that.
I'm just saying.
Let's run away toss and bring it up the left side. I want so-and-so in it who's after a dead ball, and like I'm calling on the fly. And we bring it up that side, and the person I want in the away toss isn't over there. It's just like, that's happening so consistently right now. I chalk it up to the holidays.
JJ Redick was not happy about the Lakers' recent struggles on